What you guys have to do when you work out is believe in yourself.
YouTube, what is up? We are back with another day, and it is the final block of these EMOMs and kind of our whole accessory setup. Not that we really have to change anything, because we're kind of making a lot of progress, right? I just looked at my old EMOMs, week one of EMOMs. We started at 230. Today we're starting at 255, I believe, or 260. So that's a 30-pound jump in a little under a month period on those EMOMs. So we should be able to rip those, get after those, maybe hit a new PR on the clean today. That'd be pretty sickening. We head to Kansas City on Friday for our first softball tournament of the summer. We had BP outdoors today. It was 64 degrees. The swing is feeling dialed. I'll show some of those sweet, sickening cuts right here. Now, hopefully we get some highlights for these Ole lifts as well. Probably gonna montage the every minute on the minute a little bit. It's 8:20 right now. I wanna be out of here by 9:30. We got every minute on the minute cleans to get after. We got some heavy pulls. We got those front squats with one pin lower, and then we got some overhead squats. So we got 4 things to do, but it's been taking me a little bit longer to get those things done when I'm yapping, especially during the every minute on the minutes that I'm rushing those rants. So montage the every minute on the minute. We're gonna hit a couple good rants with those pulls and those front squats. I got 2 good ones today that I want to cover from the quick Q&As. Get in, we'll get out. We're prepping for Texas, baby. Tim Riley, I'll see you there. Let's get it. All right, we are live today. I didn't mention sprint workout today. I did on the turf field at softball, so we were sprinting after a bunch of balls. This is my acceleration movement problem, and I ran 4 40-yard sprints there when I was there. Really, really nice turf field. It felt like money. So legs are feeling pretty spicy from that. And Saturday, Sundays have been more of an accessory leg day for me, so I've been ripping leg press, hamstring curls, leg extensions, that type of thing, just to get a little bit more of a leg pump in throughout the week. And we also add in some shoulder stuff and some chest stuff on those days. So we got every minute on the minute here, starting at 250. This is what our ending of our opening sets were at our very first week of these EMOMs, so that's kind of cool to start with our ending, and we're gonna get after this. Let's go, 5 of them. Goal today is to get over our head, yank this bar up, get after it today, and move this bar fast. A little bit meatheadish today, see if we can turn that into something. Let's go. Sloppy. Hat is falling off today. Kind of hate the ponytail out of the hat look, but we might have to do it to keep that hat on today. Let's go. 2 more. Kind of like that catch right now. It's feeling nice. That's some weight. Let's go. All right, up 5 kilos. Let's get it. I just punched myself in the head with that bar, being goofy. Silly. Let's go. 4 more. Sloppy. 2 more. I like that catch because it feels like I'm letting that bar float a little bit, but almost a little bit too much to where if I'm not catching it perfectly, it's slamming down on the wrist a little bit. So I might dial that in a little bit, but I kind of like that looseness of that feel. It felt really nice. So let's get it. 2 more. Ew, almost fell backwards there. Let's go. Feeling powerful today. 5 more. Then we get to open. My microphone if I don't lock that in. Oh, that was lazy. I just went down because I don't want to power. Keep drilling. Let's go. 3 more. My favorite thing about adding in all of this pulling volume is my back has adapted and feels strong as fuck right now. Haven't been using the belt for any of these, and when we started all of this, we were getting fucking folded by this weight without using a belt. So that's kind of a cool adaptation. We'll add a belt as we get heavier, more for a confidence thing than anything. All right, let's go. Let's go. Like lackadaisically catching, and it's feeling fucking money. Let's get it. I'm gonna power that last one just to focus up a little bit. I've just been dropping underneath to be lazy. It's just my elbows aren't quick enough to get underneath it. Power. Let's start adding some weight. 05 open. Let's rip. All right, belts on. Let's go get some snacks here. Let's go. Let's go, bitch. Come on. Let's go. Come on. Pull that fucking bar. Owie. All right, that was pretty sickening. Shoulder and the catch started to feel a little sketchy. I was bailing on that 335, but the pull felt really, really good. Everything felt really good. That catch, the hoses just are not fast enough. After Texas, we're going to start hook gripping. I might even start hook gripping on for my snatches on Wednesday this week, just to start getting that down, because the pull just feels so weak. The bar feels like it's rolling out of my hands, and then I really cannot hold onto the bar to get underneath it. So I think that's part of the problem. But also, we just suck, so we'll get better. But that was pretty sweet. 325 from the ground on today. I'll take that. Let's hit some 3 sets of 3 high pulls. Let's rip. Oof. Let's go. The legs are taking a beating. I don't have any leg hair, but if I did, it would absolutely all be gone on my quads. They are getting ripped apart right now. I did get the question in the Q&A this week asking about my legs get heavy during a game. How can I prepare for that? One of the things when I talk to my athletes about legs getting heavy or feeling fatigued in a game, many times they survive practice just fine, and a lot of times the practice is much harder than the game when you're just looking physiologically, right? Like when you're looking at sets and reps, when you're looking at the tempo, when you're looking at the volume of yardage that they're doing in practice, many times the practice is much harder and they're not getting gassed out in practice. But then these people go into games, they get fatigued, they feel like it's a conditioning issue, which sometimes it could be, but again, if you're surviving practice at a higher volume, a lot of times it's not a massive conditioning issue. But then they go back and condition more to try and fix that problem right. When really, when you look at it, the difference between the practice and the game is not the physiological stress, right? The difference between the practice and the game is the psychological stress, right? So you have two options there. You can bring your physiological level so high that the psychological level doesn't crush you, and a lot of athletes do that, and it's a way to do it. But honestly, I think sometimes you're beating your head against the wall when you're doing that, when the easier or cleaner path to obtaining this goal, not getting heavy legs, is to work on the psychological stress. And the way to do that is to get better at your sport, to get more skillful, right? Where you're spending less energy on the moves that you're making. I think one of the cool things is looking at like NBA and NFL GPS tracking. And a lot of the best players move the least, and they're not hitting top speeds during games, because a lot of times that means they got beat on defense and have to catch up, or they're making a lot of unnecessary moves, right? They're wasting physiological energy because their skill sets are not high, right? And when your skill is not high, the psychological stress of the game gets even higher, because you know kind of deep down that you don't have the skills to perform, so you have to rely all on the physiological part of it, right? When I work with my athletes that are struggling with getting heavy, we play a lot of games. We get them in a lot of situations in which they're high pressure situation. I really like the emergence kind of approach, and they do things like they have their parents show up to practice. They gamify practice to where if you don't win, you have a punishment, or you get a reward if you win, right? There's a consequence to practice rather than just going through the motions. But also just becoming more skillful in your practice, right? Becoming a better player, becoming a better passer, becoming a better runner, becoming a better scorer of the ball is all going to make the physiological stress on the field much easier and lower your psychological stress. So it's kind of a two birds, one stone approach, because you're getting better at the sport, so you're spending less energy, right? So I think a lot of times when you are getting heavy legs during games, it's much more to do with the physiological stress and the skill set and the skills around your sport that are causing that physiological stress rather than or psychological stress, rather than a straight physiological issue. And again, there are ways to build up the physiological so high where the psychological doesn't matter. But I think a lot of times you're wasting a little bit of time when you can spend that energy in a little bit better place. And I had a video talking about small-sided games versus tempo runs, and that's one of the reasons that I value the small-sided games for conditioning so much more, is to put that the psychological stress on that athlete while also developing skills with that athlete, and we're still getting the same amount of physiological work done in those practices, right? So you're still working all three things. All three things still matter. If you're getting gassed in practice, it probably is a physiological thing, but the way that you worded that question, it made it sound like practice is pretty good. It's the games that are stressing you out, and I think we have to look at that difference and then go train the difference. Go train the thing that you're struggling with rather than banging your head against the wall on the thing that you already got, all right? So go get better at your sport. I bet you get less gas. Let's go. Ooh, let's go. One more set there. I know it sounds like a very broad answer on that question, but I think if you are a meathead in the weight room, I think you relate it pretty easily to hitting what was your old PR for reps later in your training cycle, right? Like, let's say your old PR was 405 on a squat. You were getting all fucking hyped up. You're getting slapped with your boys, everything. You had to be so dialed in to get that. And then 3 months later, you're hitting 405 for 3. You're hitting it for 3. You're not getting super hyped up. You're just putting the bar on your back and squatting it up and down because you've developed the confidence. You know you're able to do it now. You've broken through that plateau, and it's much less stressful, right? So it's a very similar thing. You can just get underneath the bar, go do your task. It's the same exact thing when you get onto the field of play. You can just get into the field and do your task. The same thing with softball with my swing. I used to be so fucking nervous. Even if I had a similar skill set, I didn't have the confidence behind that skill set. And that skill set wasn't as consistent, and I knew that skill set wasn't wasn't as consistent. So I was fucking stressed all the time at the plate. And now I can just walk up there and do my job. And it's much more efficient, and it saves all of my physiological reserves and all my physiological energy because I'm not spending it on that psychological energy, right? So I do believe it's very similar to the weight room and the process of getting better at lifting weights, where at 315, I used to have to fucking like snort lines of pre-workout to be able to get it up. Now we're ripping it after a 20-minute EMOM. We're also hitting our old PRs, and we ripped it up pretty easy, right? So, and I still have that mental block when it gets to heavier weights. When it gets to that 335, I'm all psychologically stressed out, and it's not really a physiological issue. It's psychological stress is causing a physiological barrier that I'm not able to break through. But once we get up our skill set, once we get our cleans to 350, right, 335 is going to feel so much less, right? So it's just another way to think about it. It's the weight room's very similar. Once you get better, and you spend a lot less stress in your legs, get a lot less heavy, right? So just another way to think about it. Let's go. Let's get this last set. Those last pulls did not feel that great. Hopefully these feel better. Let's go. Ooh. Ooh. Let's go. Let's get to front squats. All right, we got sets of 4 here. These low pin squats this week should be pretty spicy. Not making that same mistake as last week where we didn't record at 275 and got bodied. So let's rip it. Oof. Oof. Legs and back are pretty toasted. I had pretty good energy going in today, but man, those cleans got me after I didn't get that 335. I just ADHD motivation completely went away, and then we're feeling pretty beat up right now. So these might be a little bit of a send here. When I finish up with this Texas trip, so we got this week of training, next week of the training before we leave on Wednesday, so we got a couple days next week. I think I'm just gonna put this out there now just so I actually do it, but I'm gonna pay K-Dot as long as he's all right with it, because I'm gonna be recording and putting it on YouTube for like 3 months of training and train with him for 3 months. Get a little bit more in-depth view of Olympic lifting and just get a different taste of programming. I think a lot of times coaches get a little too butthurt of having other coaches program for them, and man, I just think you got to look at it as like a way of looking at a different way of training, and just through a different lens. It's super fun. And then we got the season for softball coming up, but I don't really want to think about programming every day there. I just want to kind of go in and do it. So that'll be a little bit fun of experiment. So K-Dot, if you're listening, you're gonna have to deal with my dumb ass for 3 months as long as you're all right with it. But that should be pretty fun, and we'll do that as soon as we get back from Texas. But till then, let's rip here. Let's go. Oh, yeah, we are fucking shot. I'll do one more set there with 315, and then we'll hit some overhead squats. Let's go. All right, last set here, then let's get after some overhead squats and get out of here. Let's go. Oh, yeah, this is going to be a set. Ooh. Oh, cluster. Oh, making Welty proud here. We're going to get 4, though. Holy shit. Oof. Oh, my God. Holy fuck. Oof. Oh my fucking God. Got absolutely railed there. All right, let's hit some overhead squats. Let's go. You want a shout out on the camera? What we got for the people? You gotta go in the view. Give the people some light.
What you guys have to do when you work out is believe in yourself.
Let's go. What's your name? I'm Austin. Nice to meet you. This is a pretty cool little interlude here. We're gonna finish up with this last set of overhead squats because we're being a bum and we're pretty gassed. But Simon asked a question this week in the Q&A, how much of the recovery industry is built off exploiting the anxieties of athletes trying to get better? And he kind of related it to like self-help books. Like they kind of prey on sick people, right? Or people not doing the best. And I think a lot of the recovery world is based around preying on the anxiety of the athletes. I'm not against the fucking foam roller. I'm against the person that fucking sells the foam roller as all the answers to that athlete's problems, right? I don't think the issue is in any of these ice baths or saunas or hot tubs. I think the issue is in the snake oilsmen that push promises that don't actually surround that recovery. It's not that recovery is bad. It's not that the Whoop score is bad. It's not that any of these modalities that I kind of make fun of and tease a little bit are bad things or bad devices. They're in the hands of bad people trying to peddle for money, right? It's like that Michael Scott meme that I just used where it's like, I'm not in it for the money until I realize that I can make a lot of money doing it, right? And I found out money's important in that sense. It's the same with this recovery protocols. They're overpromised, overhyped, and they don't deliver, and they sell people a lie. And I think that's an evil. I think selling people lies is an evil. I think selling people lies, especially when they're hopeful on that lie, is really evil, and it's something that we do a poor job of in the industry. So how much do I think the recovery protocols prey on the anxieties of athletes? I think almost all of it is preying on the anxiety of athletes. And I don't think there's a lot of good salespeople or inventors in the market that are in the market to actually help these athletes. I think a lot of times they're in the market to make a lot of money, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. I'm not anti-corporate world. I'm not anti-making money or anti-business. I think strength conditioning gets in trouble a lot there. I'm anti making money off of selling lies, right? Just sell your product without the lies surrounding it. Just tell the truth, right? Tell the truth and you can make a lot of money and people will believe in you. And I don't think we have to do that. I think people will still buy the foam rollers without being lied to about it. I think people will still go in the sauna without being lied to about it. I just think the more we lie to people about it, the further we get from their actual goals and the further we get from the things that they're actually trying to accomplish. And that confuses the fuck out of them, and then they lose faith in the people that are actually trying to sell them good things, right? So first off, don't be one of those snake oilsmen. And second off, don't fall for those snake oilsmen, right? Use the modalities that you find benefit in. Use your Whoop Score if you like your Whoop Score. Use your sauna and ice bath if you like your sauna and ice bath. Just don't get lost in the lies that are sold around it. All right, let's get this last wrap here. Let's go. Ooh. Ow. All right, I'll cut that from the camera. Appreciate you guys watching. Keep chopping wood.